Or give us a bit more space then. We're both live.
Does that work?
Yeah, do you want to look at that one? I'll look at this one.
I mean, we can kind of dance between. It's going to be very confusing.
Yeah. All right.
Well, we put them next to each other.
All right. Why don't we just get the other chair?
Yeah, good idea. It was on the goose go round and round. Bar, black goose, having any?
That's better, isn't it? Is it? Yeah, but yours is so zoomed in then.
It's weird, isn't it?
Can't you zoom out a bit? Why is it zoomed in?
It's just
mine.
Just sit back. That's all right.
Move, get us in center shot. Yeah, that's all right.
Good. So, guys, we're going to be shouting a bit because the laptops are far away and we don't have our cameraman. Our trusty cameraman Dan has vanished. He's back. He's hibernating in London.
They're all hibernating. So if you're a cameraman and you want to come out here, then it would be very appreciated.
Les Goose has implied a comment, and your current cameraman is slowly navigating his way from Ireland.
From Ireland over to Mexico, over to here. But we're in Rio, and Rio is good. Why don't you say a little bit about your experience having been here a few days?
Yeah, so just first and foremost, getting into Rio, you do need a PCR test. So if you are looking to kind of work with me or Les, and you don't have the luxury of spending a bit of time out here, then I would suggest, actually, no, it's nonsense. I'd say if you're from the UK and you're looking to get coaching, go to Mexico with Les, because you have to be out of the UK for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Most other countries don't. And so it's brilliant. I mean, for me, coming 3 days ago, it was a bit of baptism of fire. I arrived on technically the first day of Carnival.
Yeah.
There's no blockos happening. But I just couldn't, I'd forgotten how many hot girls there were. So we're in an area called the Blonde, which is kind of like the upper scale, I guess, the Chelsea, the Mayfair of London. And the quality of women was just through the roof.
Yeah, it's been amazing here because this is now Carnival time. So people are still traveling from other states, from Minas Gerais, from Sao Paulo, from Paraty. There's loads of people traveling to Rio now for Carnival, but the Carnival's not happening with the blockos in the day. It's not like huge parties in the day. But what it means in the daytime, everyone's just going to the beach. So you've got tens of thousands of beautiful women just sprawled across the beach in their bikinis and drinking on the beach, partying. So the Carnival sort of exists on the beach of Leblon and Ipanema right now. And then at night, it's the same areas. It's Rua Dias Ferreira in Leblon. And I've never seen it so busy.
It was crazy. That Friday, we were sitting there, and I was a bit kind of anxious because I'd been in Mexico.
Yeah.
It was really chilled in Mexico City restrictions. And I was sitting there, I was like, fuck, this is almost overwhelming because the amount of hot women, and they're very strong on the attack. We talked about it before, but Brazilian women, in terms of South American beauty, I think are just up there with the best. But also the fact they're so receptive they're so sociable. They're so in need of, like, not in need, but their culture is based around conversing.
Yeah.
So it's so easy to get into a conversation here. And if you're a beginner and you're worried about getting blown out, it's probably the best place in the world to do start talking to girls.
Yeah.
Because they're so polite and so nice and genuinely like their attention. And if they're not interested, they'll kind of make their excuses, but it's done in a very nice way.
Yeah.
It's not
more than anywhere else here. The one thing that you really need to be is sort of light and humorous. If you're at least laughing at something that you're saying or trying to make a joke or just being light, trying to make it fun, women respond really well to that. Yeah. There's this sort of conception that you've got to be good looking to do well in Rio. And it definitely helps. Like, the better looking you are anyway, the easier your time is going to be for the first sort of 10 seconds to a minute of an interaction. But more than anywhere else I've been here, you can look like anything. And as long as you're trying to make someone laugh, as long as you're having a bit of fun and having a joke with the girls, they're going to respond really well because they just want a fun energy. They want to be laughing. They want to be talking. So it's a place where it really pays to just be having a sense of humor. Just be activating your sense of humor in whatever ways you can. Yeah,
so let's just preempt some kind of things the guys are saying. So obviously, the fact that on the news there's a lot of doom and gloom about places like Mexico and Brazil. I mean, we can confirm that that's just not the case. The place is not shut down.
Yeah.
It's fully open. I've been going to the gym. The bars are open at night. The streets are packed with people. There's revelers from all over Brazil in Rio for this kind of pretend carnival, I guess. So yeah, just to recap, the street parties aren't happening in the daytime, but the beach is packed, and then in the evening you've got everyone coming out.
Yeah. Look, you can't keep people from Rio indoors. No one stays inside. And so although the blocos aren't happening officially, the beach is essentially turning into the street parties. People are bringing their speakers out to the beach. There are all of these little kiosks that stay open and sell alcohol. So you've basically got full access to a party atmosphere on the beach with bars either side, bars all over the beach. And it really is an amazing atmosphere. So yeah, you guys, if you have any questions, please ask them. Hi, Harry John. Good to see you. Hi, YOLO.
We're doing this like unannounced at a random time, so it will get viewed a lot more later. But we just wanted to kind of, if any guys are watching, just obviously ask questions. Although we want to just clear up misconceptions about Rio. I'm going to be with Sam in Rio for at least 4 or 5 more weeks, and then we're thinking maybe go to Porto Alegre, maybe go to Florianopolis, maybe go to Guyana, where the places are all open.
Yeah.
But we're open to running schedules here. We've got 3 clients here. And if guys can come over and you're keen to do it, come over, because you'll have an absolute blast. I cannot emphasize the weather is good. The women are smoking hot. Do you guys need to speak Portuguese? That's a common question I get.
It helps to try, right? So you don't need to speak any Portuguese to do fine here. 70% of the women in Lebanon, in this area, they speak English. But it always goes a long way if you at least try to speak a few words in Portuguese. And there's no harm in learning a bit of vocabulary before you, just so that you can get by, right? It doesn't take anything. The learning curve at the start is like that, and then it sort of flattens off when it starts getting into grammar and things like that. But just learn a bit of vocabulary, right? Know how to ask a couple of questions, and girls are going to appreciate that. But no, you don't need it. I speak basically fluent Portuguese, but I still go up and have conversations in English.
That's a really good point to touch
only 10 minutes into the conversation sometimes do I then start speaking Portuguese, because people like speaking English, people like practicing, and it emphasizes the fact that you're from somewhere else. And Brazilians have a natural cultural curiosity. They're curious to learn about other cultures. They want to know about England and the States. People from those countries are interesting because they bring something new. They're something different. And so there's absolutely no problem with speaking English, and a lot of the very attractive girls will speak English with you.
Yeah. What are the other common questions you get about Brazil, misconceptions?
Is it dangerous? Yeah. No, it's dangerous if you're a moron. So if you're walking through a very crowded place, have your hand on your pocket, because people probably will try to take your phone. If you're walking around a dark street at night in an unknown area, you're probably going to get robbed. Don't be an idiot. Stay in lit streets as much as you can where there's people around. Don't go to areas that you don't know about by yourself at night. But generally speaking, in the daytime, as long as you stay around other people, you'll be completely fine. If you're from the States, I would say be more careful, just because statistically speaking, everyone that I know that gets robbed is from America. So I think you guys are less careful about your possessions. So if you're from the States, make an extra effort to keep your hand on your phone.
Yeah, we've got a former student here called Chris. He's a good guy. He came last year, kind of loved it. He's now turned up looking like Zach Galifianakis from The Hangover with a new haircut. But he has a tendency every year. His trip doesn't really begin until he gets his phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to recap, re-emphasize Sam's point. If you're stupid and you're carrying your phone around, you're not watching your phone, it might just get pickpocketed. The likelihood of having violent crime happen to you here is very, very low.
Extremely low.
Especially in Lebanon, where we're staying, which is the very safe, kind of rich area.
I've been here for 2 years in total, and I haven't come close to being robbed. And the reason is because if I see someone that might be a potential threat of robbery, I go for the confused, loud gringo who's telegraphing his naivety to the crowd. So if you're just a bit smart about things and keep an eye out, you'll be absolutely fine. You've got nothing to worry about in that department.
Yeah, what can guys expect when they come here? So what would they expect if they're coming in to work with us? They wanted to learn. So they've been watching our stuff.
Yeah,
and finding out, right, you know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna do
this. Look, this is the thing. The 90% of the issues that you guys are facing, and the biggest obstacle that we have, is getting into that state of social flow. It's getting to that point where it no longer feels like a big deal to go up and talk to a woman, where that sort of wave of anxiety doesn't or enter your body. You don't think like, oh my God, I want to approach her, but it's such a big deal. It's so scary. I'm so anxious. I've got so many excuses. The last couple of days, even some of the clients have broken through to the other side of that sort of social flow, where it no longer feels like a big deal to go and talk to a girl. It's just, you see a pretty girl, you go and say hi. You just say, hey, how are you doing? Doesn't matter what you say. When you're not in that social flow state, it feels like, it's a normal question to ask, what shall I say? What should my opener be? Once you break through to the other side, you remember and you embody the sense that it doesn't matter what you say to start it off. You literally can go up and just say, good afternoon, and say, hello, ladies. Say, how are you doing today? And it doesn't matter. It's all about the attitude that you're carrying in. Right. But to get to that stage, you have to approach a lot. And even in London, it can be difficult to approach enough women to get to a state of social flow. Right. One thing you're guaranteed coming here is that you will get into that social flow state, because you can do 10 approaches in 30 minutes. You can do 10 approaches easily in one walk along the beach.
There are hordes of groups. There are massive groups of women, and it seems also intimidating for guys who may have experience of approaching in the US or England or Germany, where 4 girls are standing around. It's quite intimidating. But over here, women are so sociable. If you go and speak to one girl, the others just kind of hang around, and they might join in the conversation, but they never try and like cock block you or anything like that. Yeah. So it's a really good way to push your comfort zone and practice those kind of quote unquote more high pressure situations that guys find. And again, this time of year in Rio, we can't emphasize how many people there are from other parts of Brazil. They're all here to party, have fun. They're not here for a serious time. So there'll be a mix of a beach game. We'll be taking guys out to the beach. Night game as well, but just Brazilian style night game where you're just kind of going around the streets drinking a beer.
Essentially what you can expect, and I think what you guys should be thinking about, is that when you go back to your respective countries, when you go back home, you want this to feel normal, because what this pandemic has done, if anything, it's made people remember why they should be scared to talk to one another. It's increased that approach anxiety. It's increased that social inhibition. And the one thing that coming here and that Rio will give you is it will just completely smash through that sense that it's scary to go and talk to another person.
It's the best place to do it I've ever been to.
You'll be getting in loads of conversations. I've got a big social network out here of guys and girls. So you'll basically just be hanging out with a good group of guys, digital nomads, entrepreneurs, and talking to beautiful women everywhere you go.
It's not just a case of you come out, you work with me and Sam, we obviously get your day game, and then once you start to get these conversations and getting numbers and going on dates, we might come and sit on a date. It's not just that side of it. It's Sam has a really strong network of cool people here, and you're going out with them at night as well. You're winning with them. You're mixing up between solo sessions and wings. I would highly recommend come out here for 3 or 4 weeks if possible. If you are working a corporate job and you have that ability to switch, I mean, from Brazil to New York, the time difference is, I believe, 2 hours, and from Rio to London, it's 3 hours. So there's no reason for you not to be able to set up shop here and just crack on with it. And the area you'd be staying is in Leblon. That's what we'd recommend. That's the classy area. It's got good Wi-Fi connections. It's got cool bars to sit in,
cafes and
working spots.
Yeah, and there's loads of other people doing it. You're not alone. I've got a friend who works for Amazon in Spain, and he's over here getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning and working till 1 p.m. and then going out and enjoying the sunshine, enjoying the social opportunities, going on dates with girls every couple of and if that's your fear, like, oh, but what about my work? What if I have to get up early? Just get up early. The 5 till 1 p.m., yes, you'll be going to bed a bit earlier at night. You'll be getting up and you'll be having the whole afternoon to yourself to hang out on the beach, talk to some girls, go on some dates, hikes, waterfalls. It's just more than just the talking to women side of things. The quality of life here is absolutely amazing. You can eat at a great restaurant for £4, the equivalent of £4. It's just a really, really good lifestyle. So if you are feeling socially inhibited, you have been stuck in one of the grey countries that's locked in your house, and you still have an opportunity to come here, sometimes you just got to grab that decision when it presents itself. You got to see that opportunity and say, no, my logical mind is going to try and persuade me not to come here, but I know that it's the right thing to do, and I know that I'm not going to regret it. Mm-hmm. We're all just balls of flesh walking around waiting to die. Like, you've got to make the most of this short period and grab the paradise where it exists.
We've got some questions. So Sam is currently running this live on his YouTube. Do we have any questions?
We've got some questions. Will you ever come to India to visit or teach day game? Yes, with the right incentives, I will. Lesbos, I need to drop the show us your fanny line. Not sure you do, mate, to be honest. I'm not sure that's going to go so far here. Don't be stupid. Hello from Poland, guys. Howdy. Howdy. Yassine Diaz. What's up, boys? What's up, Yassine? AOC. Rami YouTube channel. Don't understand.
Okay, so
great set of questions. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, cheers for that.
Really informative.
But yeah, we what else to discuss? I guess how the students have been getting on.
Yeah, so
we've got 3 students here. One guy called Dan, who I'm going to try and get on a YouTube live. Just so we can kind of, I guess, Big Daddy D. We've got a Mr. N. Mr. N. And we have a Greek guy who has the name of a Greek god.
Mr. T.
Mr. T. Or Thanos. I mean, no one's going to know who these people are. It's fine. Famous but they, they came in, they hit the ground hard. They were surprised. I think Dan particularly was surprised. He was very nervous. We took him out for the night game on Friday, quivering like a leaf. First approach he gets into with a girl. She was hot, super receptive. Takes her for a beer straight away.
So the first interaction that he had upon arriving to Rio ended up with him taking the girl out and going for a drink with her privately somewhere else. So it's amazing. It'll blow your socks off.
This Lesbos character.
What's he got to say? Hi, Lesbos. Sinatra, Joby. Yeah, I have actually, man. That's a good one. Yeah, I like it. Any questions, guys?
Tumbleweed breathing through the room.
What else is there to say? I mean, basically, look, what we're here to do, principally, is to guide you to make the best decisions. If you want to come here, if you're even thinking about coming here, you just need to get in touch, and we'll be able to give you all the information that you need. From answering those questions, we could talk about anything else that you might be interested in. But principally, we just want to be essentially your point of contact here in Rio de Janeiro to tell you everything you need to know and make sure you're looked after.
Yeah, we'll do this again on my channel in a couple of days. And hopefully there'll be some questions from you guys. But if guys want to get in touch for coaching, email
admin@fluid.social. I'm actually going to drop a calendar. I'm on my YouTube, so I'll drop a Calendly link in the description here. And for you,
info@jamestusk.com, or just DM me on this on Facebook, right? So just DM me on Facebook, message me, and we can set up a call on WhatsApp, and then just discuss about logistics of you guys coming over. But honestly, there's very few places you can go in the world right now. You can't just keep sitting there, I'm not going to say that. But you can't just
be clean, right?
You can't. Yeah, you can't just sit. You can't
sit there spanking the monkey. You've got. That's not what you were going to go for.
I was going to. You can't just sit there not taking action. Sam talks about it a lot, but we both do. 7 months of no socialising, you're going to be rusty. So it's going to feel like a drama coming out to a foreign country. There's a lot of negative media about Brazilian media. I wouldn't buy it. It's perfectly safe. It's perfectly open.
I mean, this is one thing. Like, even for me, you guys, some people look and they think, but you guys have gotten over approach anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get approach anxiety anymore. I want to be free from approach anxiety. The truth is that if you're sat inside a small house or small apartment without socializing for 6 or 7 months, every single person has approach anxiety.
Of course, I went through periods of the pandemic, not approaching, and I went to Mexico. Initially with Les, just getting blown out like a cheap paper bag, and you're rusty as hell. So don't be concerned about that. Just accept the fact your social skills are going to suck a bit, but trust in the fact that Rio is the best place to get your shit together in that sense. And there are a few places open around the globe. I mean, you could go to Egypt and ride magic carpets, or you could go to Dubai, and risk getting, bad stuff happening from approaching and touching the wrong person. Or you can come to a place where the whole culture and country is built on socializing, having a beer outside in the sun. And it's a no-brainer in my book. I mean, I'm all for going to Mexico if you can't get in here. Because for Mexico, there's no COVID test needed. You can just fly in. So if that is the case, DM me and I can put you in touch with Les. He can have a chat about coaching in Mexico because he's going to be there for 6 weeks in Playa del Carmen. But if you have the opportunity to come to Brazil to meet me and Sam, work with us as a combination, the old dream team, then I would highly, highly, highly recommend it. You're not going to have a bad time here. You're going to fall in love with the place, fall in love with the country, the culture, the people, and you're going to want to come back. Every single guy I've taken to Brazil, taken to Rio, has always come back. It's that good.
It is. It's the stalwart to return to, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it's how you kicked off originally, right? We came out for Rio Carnival 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And you love the place so much. 2 or 3 months later, you packed up your bags.
Yeah, I think there's a common theme of what happens is you come here and there's no way of understanding or even processing the experience that you've had in the first week or two. You come here, you have a week or two, you feel like you've woken up from a weird dream that you don't quite understand, and there's this burning desire to learn more about it and to understand what you've just experienced in terms of the cultural differences, the way people communicate, the lifestyle, the activities, the opportunities to see unbelievable natural features and things like that. And so for me, I had this burning desire to come back here. And so I just did it for 6 months because I needed to know. I needed to know what I didn't already know. And that's led to me having a life here, essentially. I'm now divided between London and Rio, but it's no less my home than London is. So, I know what you need to know about
So,
this.
Obviously, Sam, we've got a very clear image of kind of how Brazilian women look like. But for guys, just to clear up some basics about the girls here, I mean, what would guys expect girls to look like if they don't really know what girls look like?
Yeah, so obviously you get a big mix because particularly at this time, there's women from all over Brazil. There's women from the northeast where they're a bit darker skinned and thicker and curvier. There's women from the German south, Santa Catarina, Florianopolis, where they're blonde haired, blue eyed, but with more of a Brazilian figure, slim waist,
very good,
thick lower half, but then a sort of German Scandinavian looking face and skin tone. So it's really like a real variety of looks. But what you can expect as a general through line is exceptionally good bodies, really. Just really, really healthy looking, well-defined, curvy figures. And then there's just a lot of sexuality. So the women are incredibly open, and there's a sense that they're sort of liberated in the right way. They're not liberated in the sense of the future is female, women rule, let's kick men off the throne and take their place. They're liberated in the way that they say, if I want to go with a guy, if I want to have a one-night stand, if I want to go and approach a guy, if I want to talk to him, if I want to shout and sing and dance, I'm going to, and I'm not going to feel shy. I'm not going to feel like the damsel in distress. So they're empowered in all the ways that word should be used, and not many of the ways that it's come to be known in Western Europe in the 21st century. So there is a strong feminist strain, but it's the best, it's how you'd want feminism to be, right? It's the ideal version of how feminism should be for most of it. But yeah, there's a lot of beauty on display. Really, if you're into curvy figures, bikinis and liberated women in that sense, sexually liberated women, then that's what you can expect to find here.
And I guess the question I get a lot from guys is how receptive are they to foreign men? How likely am I to be able to get intimate with a girl here quickly?
Yeah, it's very easy to approach and have a conversation if you're from an English-speaking country, particularly. The only thing you want to avoid is using that as your crutch, because if you go up and you think, oh yeah, I'm a gringo, I'm a high value man here, like I don't need to try, I don't need to do anything. Any strain of arrogance from gringos is usually quite unattractive to them. So it's better to do the sort of confident, but sort of more on the funny side, like, hello, how are you? Good evening. Oh, I don't understand what you're, the more low-key style of approach, rather than coming up and trying to be all that and trying to be overly confident and arrogant. Because if you're coming to a foreign country, you don't speak the language and you're acting like you own the place. The women just aren't interested in that. Particularly in this part of Leblon, the cool way to act is sort of nonchalant, easygoing, not taking things too seriously. So arrogance doesn't go down too well.
What are some kind of troubleshooting tips for guys who have dates here? Because sometimes, I remember when we first came here, it was very confusing because you'd arrange a date with a girl You go and meet her at the beach bar, and she'll be sitting with four other girls and 2 guys, and you're like, hold on. Yeah, and there's kind of a lack of communication there. So what are some common things that kind of arise?
Yeah, so you might think that you're meeting up with a girl. You might think that you're going on a date with her at a restaurant because you organised it yesterday, and then she does saying, where were you? I waited for an hour. And she said, oh, I didn't know we were actually doing it. Like here, there's much more of you can't just set a plan 2 days before and then expect that person to remember and show up.
Yeah.
It's such a quick culture. There's so many things to get distracted by that it has to be an ongoing conversation. So it's like, hey, I'm just on my way now. I'm getting an Uber from here, right? So you really got to confirm that the date is going ahead. And also, if you really want to just be one-on-one with the girl, make sure that she's not going to be with friends. Be like, hey, you're coming alone, right? Send her a message and confirm that she's going to be alone. Because what can sometimes happen is you can think you're going on a date and it turns up and she's got her extended family with her. And you'll find the older brother, the younger sister, and you'll get a short introduction. She'll be talking with them. And it can normally it's not the family. Normally it's a few friends, right? A gay best friend and a girlfriend or something like that. But it can feel disrespectful if you're not acclimatized to the culture. But really for them, it's just normal. She's just hanging out and maybe she wants her friends to come and meet you as well to show that you're a cool guy and that you're normal. But yeah, if you want to go alone, confirm that it's alone, confirm that the date's actually going to go ahead. And then it's sort of the same as other places. It's just leading it, right? Have a couple of drinks and then suggest the next place to go. Though women are liberated and really friendly and pro-social and they have their sexuality more on display, it's the same as any other country where you've still got to take the lead in most cases, make the suggestion, and there might be some, oh, I'm not sure. And as long as you show the sort of confidence to suggest something that you want to do and make sure she's comfortable doing that as well, then it's the same as any other country. You've got to take the lead as a guy and show that you actually want to take her and not asking too many questions. So do you want to try another bar now? No, just be like, I know another cool bar. Let's have a walk down there. It's 5 minutes down the road. So just take the lead as you would in any other country in the world.
Yeah, but yesterday to me, I mean, I turned up. I thought I was seeing a girl on her own. I turned up to the bar and she was with 2 blokes and another girl.
Can happen.
Yeah, and we just sat there and bantered for a bit, had a drink, and then eventually I was like, do you want to go somewhere else? And she was like, okay, cool. And one of the guys actually did try a little bit to be like, no, you're getting in a taxi home to her, which I thought was a bit sneaky at the end. He obviously was into her. But yeah, she left them and then we walked away. So yeah, don't try and force necessarily the one-on-one issue too much. A lot of them, they are here in groups of people from other cities at the moment, so they will just be wanting to hang with their friends. Meet them at the beach bar, show you're an normal dude, and then you can always meet her later or just try and take her down there.
Yeah. Right. I think
have we got any questions?
I think we've covered most things. Right. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. We've actually got a lot of questions. Hello.
Yeah, let's raffle through these.
So you guys always speak about the difficulty of European women and how it is in Miami.
He said,
he's just talking about how it is in Miami and Florida, but it's not relevant. Would love to see some series about the process from being an employee to becoming a digital nomad. But just drop it again. You can get in touch with either of us with any of these questions, but for this live stream, let's keep it about Rio. The only guys that can really join you over there are the ones that work remotely. Not worth the palaver for most, especially if you're not from the UK. It's not true, Lesbos. My best
guy's so negative. Is it Lesbos?
No, it's Lesbos.
Yeah, but
my friend is from Germany, and he gets up at 5 a.m. every morning and works till 1 p.m. and he has an incredible lifestyle. He's dating 3 beautiful women at the moment. He has the whole afternoon to himself, which you don't with a 9 to 5. So it's not true that the only guys that can join are ones that work. Well, obviously that work remotely, but everyone's working remotely, right? You're not in an office right now, so just work different hours. 9 to 5 is the worst hours to work because you don't have a morning and you don't have an afternoon. It's the biggest waste of a day. Get up earlier, go to bed, get up early and have more time off in the afternoon, or do it the other way around and get up later and have time in the morning.
How do you feel this Lesbos character? Probably the reason your only thing was why'd you get banned from my channel? It's because you're constantly spewing negative stuff out. It's just like, man, just.
What do you do when you feel socially incompetent? Enzo, it's a good question.
Well,
I can't read it.
No, just those from this. Yeah. So,
what do you do if you feel socially incompetent? You have to prove through action that the feeling is exactly that it's a feeling and it's not a reality. And the way to do that is to go out and socialize and experience evidence to the contrary. When you experience people enjoying conversations with you, it no longer is logical, or it no longer makes sense for you to feel socially incompetent. So you have to disprove your theory with contradicting evidence. Yassine Diaz, damn it, you guys are pretty convincing. Get yourself out here, Yassine. Hodge, hey Sam, I know you don't like to answer it, but the only thing I'm concerned about is safety. Can you walk around freely? No, it's a good question, man. Good question. The area that you'll be staying is like a little bubble of paradise where you're virtually completely safe walking around. The only safety concerns, as we briefly discussed earlier, is if you're walking through a crowd, there will be pickpockets about and people do get their phones stolen. So if you're walking through if you're walking wall to wall with people and you're squeezing through a group of people, put your hand on your phone in your pocket so that no one can take it out of your pocket. If a prostitute comes up to try and dance with you, which they often do, what they can try and do is shake your phone out of your pocket, like dance up against you and shake your phone out of your pocket, and then they'll leave it on the floor, another one will come the other way and pick it up. Just be careful, right? As I said, I haven't been robbed in 2 years of being here because I'm cautious about this stuff. Even in London, I'm cautious about this. I wouldn't walk through a crowd without putting my hand over my phone. So you've just got to be street smart. An American friend of mine walked from LeBlanc back to Copacabana, which is a 30-minute walk, at 3 a.m. in the morning, drunk, and then passed out outside his apartment on the street. And he had his wallet and phone cut out of his pocket, and they took everything. But of course they're going to do that. If you're a poor person, you've got nothing to do, nothing to eat, and you see some, relatively speaking, rich American passed out in front of his Copacabana apartment, what are you going to do? You're going to take his things and sell them and feed your family for a couple of months. So just be smart about it. Don't telegraph your naivety to the world. Keep a low profile in the streets. Don't wear a lot of expensive jewelry. Don't wear too much bright clothing and have this sort of gringo swagger and be shouting in a loud American accent. Tone it down a bit. Be careful. But you're completely safe when you do that. I've been completely safe when I've done that. How do you differentiate between an IOI and just an inquisitive look in Brazil? That's actually a good question because you receive a lot of both. You just get people staring at you because you're a different color, and you get people who are really interested in you. I think the thing to think is that very often the two go hand in hand. So that inquisitive look is because you're a shiny object, because you are something exotic to them. And so you don't really need to differentiate. If they're inquisitive about you, they probably want to know more about you. If they want to know more about you, they're going to be open to a conversation. During that conversation, you'll be able to tell if she's actually attracted to you or if she's just interested to talk and practice her English and learn a bit about you. I wouldn't focus too much on it. If you get an IOI, go and talk to them, find out.
Interpret that as I had it yesterday. We were sitting, just chilling while we were eating, and there was a very tall, attractive, blonde woman who was kind of looking over. Then she walked past, and I was like, "Hey, hello," and she was like, "No." So in that circumstance, it was just inquisitive. But yeah, always treat it as they're interested because it's going to boost your kind of self-confidence. But you don't need to do anything differently. Just go and say hello if you find the girl attractive.
Caleb is here. What up, Caleb? Good to have you here. I know this might look very weird or sad. I just turned 21 years old and I'm still a virgin. This single fact kind of makes me extremely anxious around women. You don't know what to do. Well, you do know what to do, Arian, because as I explained earlier, if you are feeling anxious or you're feeling like women don't like you or you're feeling like you can't improve, the only thing you need is evidence to the contrary. The only thing you need is experiential evidence that women do like you, that you can get women, that they do want to talk to you. And as soon as you have that it's impossible, it's a logical fallacy to think that you are socially impotent or to think that you should have this heightened anxiety around women. You just need to prove yourself wrong. And the only way to do that is to take action. And honestly, the best place in the world to take action is here. There is no better place to practice cold approach, to just go out and do a lot of approaches and overcome that anxiety. I guarantee you when you go back to your country, you will just have a completely different mindset. You're going to be walking around the streets of London or Miami or wherever you're from, and the whole process is going to open up in front of you. And the idea of approaching women who speak your language from your country is going to seem so much easier.
I've got a question from Tony on Facebook.
All right.
How's the COVID restrictions there? So in the gym, you have to wear a mask, but the gyms are open. The bars are all open. They're just operating normally. There basically are no restrictions here. It's very similar to Playa. It's actually more open than Playa. people are charging around. They're not wearing masks in the street at all. I'd highly recommend coming out. So again, just DM me if you want to discuss further. Lesbos is asking loads of questions. Lesbos, instead of just
no. So he's just asking how much you're paying for accommodation.
But why don't you just get in touch with you? And
yeah. Lesbos, just drop me a message if you want the answer to these questions. But I mean, look, you can expect to pay at this time between £700 and £1,000 for the month for accommodation in the best area of Rio. And I've done a tour, man. I've done a little tour in another video, so you should have seen that. But yeah, get in contact over the Calendly link if you've got any other questions for me or on Tusk's email address for him. Just Tusk, no, we're not going to answer that question, Romeo. You'll get us kicked off again. Sam, how did you learn Portuguese? I'm currently on it. Any tips? Yes, here are my tips. Get in contact with me and I will connect you for free with a Brazilian woman who wants to learn English and will teach you Portuguese. And you can do a Skype exchange with an attractive Brazilian woman for 1 hour per week, and you can exchange your English for her Portuguese. That way you're making contacts, you're learning the cultural nuances, you're talking to beautiful women, you're learning Portuguese for free, and it's the best way to do it. So anyone that does want to learn Portuguese, get in touch with me and I'll put you in contact with one of my Brazilian girlfriends and you can talk to her and learn your Portuguese from her. Do either of you own a Brazil football shirt? Nope. Any other questions? I'm done. I'm done here. I've got nothing else to say.
Okay. Yeah, I anticipate we're going to do this again a few days' time on my channel. Sam will be there. I think we're probably going to be covering similar information, but probably some different stuff as well. So if you are watching on Sam's YouTube, tune into the other channel as well. We might even try and get one of the students on just so he can give a bit of insight for 10 minutes about how it is out here, so you guys can really put yourself in their shoes, because I know it's sometimes hard for you to think, okay, well, they've been there 3 or 4 years in a row. Yeah, it's different, right? Yeah, no, it's been good, man. Lots of great information.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We've got a big audience on mine, actually, by my standards. So as I said, I'm doing my 30-minute free breakthrough sessions at the moment. There's a Calendly link that I've put in the description of this video. Just get in contact if you want to come out to Brazil. If you have any questions, this is literally free coaching. So get in contact via that Calendly link, and I look forward to talking to you guys. Thanks a lot, Sam and Tusk.
Cheers.